everybody. You having fun? I hope so. Listen, I'm here in front of the National Space Center, which is an amazing place. My name's Bob, and I'm going to be here with you for every episode of the Space Academy program. And what are we going to do? We are going to learn some amazing things about God's universe. And here's the important thing, okay? We're going to be learning the real stuff, okay? The real facts. Science fiction is cool, but that's not what we're going to be learning about. We're going to be learning about science fact. And we're going to learn it from some amazing people, world-class space scientists who know exactly what they're talking about. And that's not all. We're going to tell some really great stories from the Bible, in my own words. But if you want to look them up in the Bible, I'm sure your leaders can tell you where to find them. They're all about a guy named Daniel and his 3 friends. Now, Daniel wasn't the spaceman, and he didn't go flying through the universe and learn all kinds of cool science stuff, but he and his friends were on an amazing journey, far away from home to a foreign place they'd never been to before. And so it was just as important for them to know the God who made the whole universe, because that God helped them to make some really important decisions, even decisions about what they ate and what they didn't eat. That's right. The story today is all about forbidden food, but hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. The first thing we need to do is to meet Gemma, who has been collecting a lot of really cool space questions for us.
I wonder who the first person was to just lay here and look up and wonder, what's out there? Oh, hello Bob, nice to see you. I was just pondering a few thoughts on space there, and I know that some of our friends today have got some amazing questions to put to our very intelligent scientists, so I hope they're ready for them. You ready? Come on, let's go get the questions.
What creates stars? How far away are stars?
How hot are stars?
How old is the universe?
How old is the universe?
What's on the other side of a black hole?
If we had to evacuate Earth, is there a similar planet that we'd have to go to?
Wow, some really huge questions there, Bob. Can our scientists cope with the answers?
Well, first of all, what are stars? They look like tiny little dots in the sky, but actually if you get up close to them, you'll find they are great, huge balls of fire. In fact, the sun up there, that is a star. It's our nearest star, and it's big enough to swallow up 1 million Earths. So they're big.
Stars are mostly hydrogen and helium, about 3/4 hydrogen, 1/4 helium, and a little bit of other stuff.
Now, even the nearest star, if you were to fly to the nearest star at the speed of a jet aircraft, it would take you 1 million years to get there.
There may well be planets like Earth, but it would be very, very, very difficult to evacuate the Earth, because just the energy required to put even a single person in orbit around the Earth is tremendous. So to take the whole of the Earth population and transplant them to another planet around another star would take an enormous amount of energy.
Oh, it's very, very old. It's 13.7 billion years old.
Lots of people have thought about what's on the other side of a black hole, and we don't know at the moment. There are lots of theories about it. Some people think that there's nothing, but other people think actually it may be slightly different. Now, people who think about this talk about wormholes, and it could be that black holes are connected by a series of these tunnels. So you might go in one side of the universe and come out the other side.
Wow, some pretty awesome answers there. We are very pleased with those. Right then, Bob, it's over to you for the story.
Okay, we've learned about a lot of really big stuff. A big universe and an even bigger God. Honestly, my brain is about to go into orbit. And Gemma and the kids, they asked incredible questions, didn't they? Big, bigger, and biggest. Which brings me to my question, okay? What do you eat in space? That's what I want to know. I mean, you could eat baked beans. But the thing is, they go flying up in the air and bump into stuff, and sweets. I mean, you could eat sweets, but it'd be the same thing. I mean, your sweet would go that way, and your mate's sweet would go that way, and the sweets would go everywhere, and probably your mate would get the sweet you wanted because it was floating away from you. I don't know. I don't know what you eat in space. I guess I'll have to ask one of those scientists. Which brings me to a joke. Yeah? Space joke? 2 astronauts. One astronaut says to the other one, I'm feeling kind of hungry. The other astronaut says, yeah, I can understand that. It's almost launch time. Sorry. Guess it's time to tell the story, huh? Daniel, forbidden food. Here's how it happened. When they lived in Jerusalem, their Hebrew friends knew them as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. But when Jerusalem was conquered and they were taken as captives to the palace of King Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon, they were given Babylonian names. So everyone knew them as Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But anyone who knew them well knew them simply as the boys who liked to say no. They were handsome, these boys, and clever and strong to boot, sons of Jerusalem's most important families. So Nebuchadnezzar treated them well. He gave them soft beds to lie on, rich food to eat, and an education at his very best university, all in the hopes that they would forget about Jerusalem and learn to call Babylon home, and that the rest of their captive people would too. But Nebuchadnezzar hadn't counted on them being the boys who like to say no. One of Nebuchadnezzar's servants was an enormous man called Ashpenaz. He had a big belly and a bald head, and more than anything else in the world, he loved to eat. And it was he who was put in charge of turning the boys who like to say no into good Babylonians. For your dinner tonight, he announced, you will have a choice from the king's own menu. Oh, roasted rhinoceros. Oh, a country fried ferret. Ooh, or my own personal favorite. Oh, Mrs. Puffy's perfect pork pies. Oh, Ashpenaz wiped the corners of his mouth with the back of his chubby hand. The thought of all those food products made him quiver with joy. But the boys who liked to say no were calm. They knew exactly what to do. You see, the meat on the king's table had been offered to the Babylonian gods and was therefore something that they were not allowed to eat. Something their law said they shouldn't eat. The law that they had learned in Jerusalem. The law their God had given them. The law and the city and the God they had promised never to forget. So as one, they turned to Ashpenaz and they said, no. What, said Ashpenaz? No roasted rhinoceros? No, said Shadrach, but I wouldn't mind a roast potato. No country fried ferret, said Ashpenaz. No, said Meshach, but a garden salad would be nice. And not even one of Mrs. Puffy's perfect pork pies, said Ashpenaz. No, said Abednego. I think I'll just have a few carrots. Oh dear, said Ashpenaz, the king will be very angry indeed. If you do not eat his food, you will grow tired and ill, and there's no telling what he will do to me. He could throw me into prison. He could torture me. He could chop me up into tiny little bits. Or worse still, he could take away my daily ration of bacon butties. Oh, please, won't you reconsider? No, said Daniel, but we promise you, you will not get into trouble. For we will not grow tired and ill. Why don't we have a test? For 10 days, my friends and I will have nothing but vegetables and water. The other boys can eat from the king's table. And at the end of that time, we'll see who is fit and who is not. Well, Ashpenaz agreed. The king agreed too. And for 10 days, the boys who liked to say no said no to everything but water and vegetables. And the other boys, well, they had their fill of roasted rhino and fried ferret and Mrs. Puffy's pork pies. What happened? Well, the God that Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and Daniel refused to forget did not forget them. At the end of the 10 days, they were healthy, they were well. And what's more, Daniel had been given the gift of interpreting dreams. And the other boys? Well, their bellies were bloated, their breath was bad, and I can't begin to tell you how they felt when they found out what was in Mrs. Puffy's pork pies. And so the boys who liked to say no wore from that point on allowed to eat anything they wanted. And what's more, they were given jobs in the king's palace. All because they were loyal to their God. And because they were the boys who liked to say no. Okay, guys, time for me to go. Another story about Daniel the next time. Be sure to be here to hear it.